Calling this meeting to order, oh, hold on, Keith's giving me the 1 minute, please.
Who's missing your signature?
All right, good evening. Calling this meeting to order. This is the December 16th meeting of the regular school board. All right, we'll have roll call. John? Here. Ben?
Here.
Brittany?
Here.
Here. Brad? And myself here. All right, announcements. Okay, next meeting will be January 20th of 2025 in the new year. All right. Approval of the meeting agenda, please.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Brad and Ben, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Approval of the minutes for,
Aye, so move.
of the November.
Second.
Okay. All right, Ben and Brad. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Expenditures. Okay,
I'll make the motion to approve the expenditures as listed.
okay. Brad has the first,
Second.
John has the second. Any questions on the expenditures? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Passes. All right, brings us to our treasurer's report.
All right, as our treasurer's report for November 2024, our beginning balance, $141,158.89. Our total deposits, $552,970.31. Our total expenses, $647,286.61. Our ending balance, $46,842.59. Local government pool balance, $1,992,408.92.
Thank you. That will be filed for audit. All right, that brings us on to student council.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Okay, so I'm just going to read this as a little update. So our president is Cade Lisson. I'm the vice president, Audrey, if you don't know, but the treasurer is Jake Taggart, the secretary is Penelope Burtfield. And we meet at least once a month in Mrs. Ryder's classroom. And so far we took a group of high school students, student council members to Changemaker Day at UWS. And we learned about how we can make change in our community, and we learned how to make a pitch. We also took a group of middle school students to a youth wellness and leadership summit, also at UWS, and they attended sessions that centered around like wellness in the community. We are also collaborating with the PTO this year to maximize opportunities for our students and community. We had students help out at the Halloween Carnival back in October, and currently have a group of students who are helping to plan community dance. In January, we are doing our annual Unity/Spirit Week, and this will include dress-up days for elementary and middle school, high school, read aloud with elementary with a book on Unity, student versus teacher trivia, and a giant ski race. And we are collaborating with Mr. Hendrickson. Him and a group of students are making the skis for us. And that's
Wow.
all I got, so. Yeah.
Cool.
Good job.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you, Audrey. All right, community as a whole report.
So with the community, our committee of the whole, we have minutes from our meeting. And
I gotta click.
I didn't click the, okay, never mind. I didn't click the little clock thing.
The little clock, yeah. We need to click that.
There.
All right. Good.
Okay.
All right. I'm trying to get, well, something not getting back up.
My dad
Okay, what, technical difficulties.
There's nothing with it.
All right, nothing with it? All right. Next, we have
the charter school.
charter school update. Good.
Good evening, my name is Brian Goldberg. I'm representing the Charter School Governance Board. On 12/2, we had our annual meeting. All board members who were up for renewal were renewed. No new board members were elected. We filled the officer positions. Ida Sampson is still the chair. Stacy Burfield was elected vice chair. Jolie Little is the secretary, and I am the treasurer. There are a few other items. Are the minutes for that meeting attached?
Yep.
So you could take a look at those if you want. Any questions for me? Good.
Super grateful for the work you're doing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brett.
Thanks.
Yes, thank you.
Did you get your paperwork? Think about that?
Yes, I did. That's it. All right, so trying to get in, we log in four times.
You're next.
Okay, you're next, Nathan.
All right, just a couple of updates. Just to finally wrap up our fall for high school football. Jared Schultz, after his fantastic year he had, was named Offensive and Defensive Player of the Year in the conference. He was the state 8-man Player of the Year, and he was also Superior Telegram Player of the Year. So even though he's not one of our students, he certainly has represented our program very well, and those are some fantastic honors for him for his season. We did have 2 of our players make an all-conference team. Tristan Grosky was all-conference second team defense, and Sam Fromm, in his first year of playing football, was all-conference honorable mention on the defensive side. And then there were 4 other Northwood students that made all-conference. For volleyball, Audrey Swanson, who was just here for her student council report, and Peyton Simonson, they were the Superior Telegram all-area team. So 2 of our players were represented there. Moving on to winter sports, middle school boys basketball, they concluded their season last week. The 6th and 7th grade team was 3-10, and the 8th grade team finished 5-8. For girls basketball, they actually have 1 more win on their schedule from when I wrote this last week. So they're 2-1 and 2-0 in the conference. They've got 3 more games to finish out December. And boys basketball has fallen to 1-2. They lost on Thursday night. They've got 3 more conference games, including what will be happening here tonight, and then they play a non-conference game against Clayton to wrap out the month. For an update for cross country, so at our last meeting we talked about the fact that cross country was state. They finished 3rd at state. They were going to move up to Division II because of the points factor, performance factor that was put into place. We did have the ability to appeal that. And I wrote an appeal and hit on all those topics that WIA wants to know about, like demographics, our student population, our special ed students, and really the lack of participation from Northwood because they don't have any of our students. So really it's our team of 80 kids that is doing all the heavy lifting. And that appeal was denied. Although Pete, you want to mention about what you got last week?
Yeah, just thinking about this, that we've got this, did I have it? Yeah, we do have that further down on the agenda, just to talk further about.
Okay. So yeah, with that, there is a possibility that would change depending on what happens. There's an amendment that's gonna be, looks like if there's enough signatures brought up, to be considered in the April annual meeting for WIA. So I guess that is where when I wrote this last week, it was maybe for sure that we'd be in Division II, and we'll see if that ends up happening based on what happens at the state level. So, the next piece is the championship banners. You can see on your report that those banners have been.
Before you get to that, how
yeah.
long did that 7 points stay with us?
So we have to, after next year, if we don't gain any points, we would lose 1 point. So we'd still be at 6 across 3 years. So we would be at Division II for up to 2 years, assuming that we don't earn any more points.
Okay.
So you lose just 1 point a year, or
Well,
is it the points you gain?
It's the last
the
year.
last
It's a
sets of points?
3-year rolling. So
So
whatever.
like whatever was 2 years ago or 3 years
Yep.
ago, that would come off.
Because we made it to state, so that was a 1 point that we accrued. It was just the last 2 years we had,
Yeah.
a 2nd place finish and a 3rd place finish. That bumped us from 1 point up to 7 across those 2 years. So yeah, the rolling average drops off the last year of the 3. Any more questions on that part? So those championship banners, those have been, the art has been approved. They're working on those right now, and our hope is to have those installed over break or early January. You know, that's kind of our plan.
So how do we add years?
So in our art room where we have our Fab Lab stuff, they were able to match the font to what is here.
Okay.
So we have sticky vinyl that all we'll have to do is, if we win something in 2025, we
Okay.
just go and print off 2025, and then we'll have to stick it onto the board itself.
Okay. And then on boys track, we had a state winner a couple years ago.
Yep.
Is that going to be on that banner or
I think
in any?
I think we're gonna discuss this in the future, like how we're gonna recognize some of those other accomplishments for our teams.
Yeah.
You know, this is the recognizing those three factors: conference championship, regional championship, and sectional championship. You know, how do we want to recognize we have an individual state champion. We have now 2 state runner-ups that could be included in something like
Yeah.
that. You know, and then there's 1,000-point scorers, and there's just a whole list of things that we just have to
Maybe
decide
just
which.
another catch-all banner. or
Yeah,
something.
and I think we talked a little bit with the art room, because none of those types of banners would need to be add-on pieces. You know, maybe it's something that we just figure out what is a consistent way that we can make our own banners and cut the pieces, attach them.
And where will these go in? Jim?
They're gonna go on
This wall
on the
here?
close wall here. Mark and I,
Okay.
we figured out a way to be able to get them. It's gonna be a little crowded, all right, but we're gonna end up moving the American flag off of that wall and putting it elsewhere, and kind of filling that space. We were able to get them a little more narrow than what he had originally suggested,
Yeah.
so that we could kind of fit that space that's
Okay.
there. So,
Great.
so yeah, I think when they're actually up and put together, I think it'll look nice. It might be a
Yeah.
little crowded, but we'll at least have those things, the ability to recognize those pieces. So. All right, and the last thing that I have is I was notified a couple weeks ago that I was named the 2024 Baseball Coach of the Year for baseball. So I'm going to share that award with Rich Newton from Madison Edgewood. They won the Division I championship at state last year, so I'll go down to the WBCA convention in February, and then I'll have an awards banquet there. So yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So.
And 25 years of coaching middle school basketball.
Yes, that was the other thing that wrapped up last week, was my 25th year doing that.
That
so.
might be the bigger accomplishment.
Yeah, there are times where it's like, oh, that's a long haul. So yes. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nate. All right, principals report.
Yeah, so kind of a shorter month. We have some more students coming in. We'll actually have a few more starting in January at the start of the school year. So these numbers are a little bit off. PLC team, we're still meeting. Last time we met as a team, we also brought in Paige Gilbertson and Amanda Trout from CISA 12 to really help make sure that we're guiding and facilitating all of our PLCs in the same manner. So we're having that consistency across the board. And I do have to say, with our PLC teams, our smaller PLC teams with the teachers, seeing a lot of great things and a lot of productive conversations around the information and data that we're looking at and how that's guiding our current and future instruction with our students. So a lot of positive things coming from that. PBIS team, as you know, I talked about last time, every month we're doing assemblies with our elementary, middle school, and high school students. Seems to be very positive with our students and staff. It's great getting a lot of nominations in from our staff just to kind of recognize our students and for all the great things that they're doing. We also recognize our honor roll students this past month as well. This week we are doing a door competition for everyone that has a door, and so part of that is they have to have that character trait of the month incorporated into the theme of the door, which is gratitude this month. And so then we'll recognize our students for this month when we get back from break. So a lot of positive things. Then just some upcoming events, kind of touched on those already. The assemblies are winter break. We have our spelling bee in January. And then one big thing that Pete and I and a few others that we'll start working on is our master schedule for next year and kind of what that's gonna look like and get started on all that
I
fun.
thought you guys were all getting your master's degree.
Is the spelling bee a certain grade or who?
It's for school board members.
I don't remember what the cutoff is. Is it
Yeah, I think it's up through, go ahead.
three,
Yeah, thank you.
okay. So three through 8. Yeah. So yeah, good thanks.
All right. Okay, that brings on superintendent report.
All right, so a couple different things, just to get an update. Ad hoc maintenance committee, we met on the 9th and just prioritizing our short-term and long-term maintenance. And also, what was brought up was what projects should be funded by the district through a general fund, and then also what could be or should be considered for larger projects. It was a very fruitful and productive discussion. I was very happy with it. And we're set to meet again on the 20th at 5 p.m. So it's right before our regular board meeting in January. So trying to encourage them to stay on and just provide some feedback, you know, as we get into our regular board meeting. Next one, been talking about this just a little bit of recent. So Act 10, right to work ruling, that was so Act 10, it was a 2010, kind of coincidental, law that was passed, which took away the collective bargaining tool for unions in the state. Of recent, it was December 2nd, Dane County judge ruled that aspects of this were unconstitutional because there was inequitable treatment of first responders and law enforcement and then teachers. So, I'm anticipating that's gonna take a while for this to work its way out. There have been 3 different recommendations from different law firms, and all 3 of them are pretty much the same. Wait and see what happens. So hopefully we'll figure out something here in the next year. I would anticipate that the soonest we would have would be this summer. So anyway, so more to follow on that topic. Act 20. So we're going by 10s tonight. So Act 20, it's been talking about this quite a bit. It's early literacy law that was passed last year. One thing that we have to take a look at is our promotion policy. And I know that WASD, it's the Wisconsin Association of School District Administrators, is this is part of their topic for our Wednesday meeting is what does this look like for a promotion policy, because we are required as a district by this law to have a policy on hand by July 1st of 25. There are some pieces or components which is on the second slide, just talking about what should be included in it. We'll have further discussion as to what this could look like and how to implement things. There's been nothing that has come out from Neola at this point in time, so I'm thinking that they're still wrapping their heads around it as far as drafting a policy. So just giving you more information on what this is, what the talking about a personal reading plan, and how students should be progressing to meet the intent of this law. So, all right. Next one, last week we had a district data dig. We had a few individuals from CISA 12 come in and join us in this process to really dig into our data and see what's going well and what are some areas of concern that we need to expand upon. You know, and I listed some of the strengths that are conventions of standard English, so it's just understanding sentence structure and whatnot. Concepts of print, that's an early literacy skill, so kids can understand like signs and different posters and warning stuff out in the public, so that they're able to navigate that pretty well. And then we also determined that our kids in math do better on geometry than they do in some of our other areas. That's a good thing, because usually that's an area that either you really get it or you really don't get it. You know, so it's good to see that's a strength. When we get into some of our concerns, still what we identified last year, and it just continues on with our current data, is our vocabulary and vocabulary use. Getting into encode, when I'm talking about encoding, that's putting letters and sounds together to make words. So they're able to produce the words with encoding. And then morphology is very much the same, so it's putting it all together as far as words and whatnot. Measurements and quantity and fractions on the math side are two areas of concern that we need to focus on still. So, and I would say that measurement and fractions, those two correlate, because when you take measurements, you have fractions involved. So
Pre-tape measures.
there you go. So
Was this a K through 12 data date or?
it was the entire district.
Okay.
So taking a look at all of the assessment data that we have, whether it's FastBridge, which will incorporate everyone, and then also our statewide assessments, which is going to be your 3 through 8 for forward, your ACT, the pre-ACT secure. So anyway, so we're looking at all pieces of data here. So okay. The last one I have, I need to stress this heavily. Talking about two-step authentication. And there's a couple different pieces of this. Locally, or in the state of Wisconsin, we haven't had any recent major attacks on school districts when it comes to hacking, phishing, spearing, you name it, whaling. I don't know. It's all the wonderful things. Anyway, but those are actual terms in the cyber world. Anyway, ways of mitigating the potential threat of hacking or some of these invasive security threats is having a two-step authentication, and that goes into your Google account. So when you log into your Google account, it would go through your phone to verify this is truly you that's signing in. And then you answer yes, it processes through and it verifies that you are correct. You are the correct person. Okay? The other piece that goes with this is making sure that all board members have a district laptop, which would help secure our means of communication and
Are
sites.
you talking about for board docs or for email? All of the above?
Emails, board docs isn't as bad, but it is a potential way of people getting into our system. Because you guys have more access through that. But then when we start talking about our Google system, that is the biggest one.
Can you incorporate a two-step authentication without using a school-issued laptop?
You can, but you also lose some of the updated software and methods of security by using your own device.
I personally, I don't really need another device. I've got enough. If we can do, I'm fine with doing two-step authentication because I do it for a lot of different
Right.
websites.
Right.
So I would just say my preference would be, let's do it with the devices we have. If that's still, it's more than we have now.
I get it.
I- providing another 5 laptops, that might be better used by students or faculty.
Well, it's funny you say that because we'll have more of a discussion in January about our current system as far as Chromebooks. Because I know Dave is gonna talk about some of the updates with Chrome and Chromebooks. Used to be a 6-year life cycle, that's now increased to a 10-year life cycle, so anyway.
So are you
they're-
saying that if we're sending them emails, for them to check their email, they would be needing to log into that other device?
It's not necessarily, but it provides a more secure method of doing so. Because I would say, do I have email that comes through my personal phone? Absolutely. But then it's also hooked into authentication program, so it's more secure in that sense, so.
Yeah, cause I didn't print ahead of time and look at the emails on my phone.
Right, right.
I mean, cause we wouldn't even know we had an email if it was just going to a Chromebook until
Right.
you opened it up, plugged it in,
Right.
logged on, and
Right, but the other piece of that is nothing's been pushed for you guys yet to do that 2-step authentication either, so. Anyway.
so is this just a notion at this time, or is this
No,
something coming?
we need to push this, okay? Just because things haven't happened doesn't mean we shouldn't do it, so. I think it's very much a wise idea for that security
Why wait
piece,
until we're hacked when we can prevent the hack?
so.
Well, you're the boss, so whatever you tell.
No.
No, actually, we're the boss.
You're the boss. I'm providing that recommendation.
We are, when you hire an expert, you should listen to the expert, so if,
Right, the
I'd be
two-
interested to see what the features that we would lose if we did it with our personal devices, because literally for anything in the school, I use the docs and I use email, and that's it.
Mhm.
I don't do anything else as far as, I don't know what else.
Google Docs don't come your way from email. I mean, cause
I mean,
some
no,
do,
it's-
and then.
Right.
you have
I
to
mean,
do
yeah, the invites or whatever I mean,
Yeah.
I don't do anything else, with school.
I was thinking, I thought he meant we would lose security function, like this
Did-
wouldn't be secure as the Chromebook that would get from the
Right.
school.
Right, that is correct.
I don't know.
Because of what's on that, the updated versions on that.
So,
I don't-
I'll have
I don't
Dave
know
talk
about
more
that.
about this,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
the 2-step authentication, we have to move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
fine with
that's-
that.
yeah.
Well, I already said my piece, so.
I hear you.
So do you actually need a motion at some point tonight, or are you just gonna do it?
No, we'll
We're
get
talking
that
about it in
set up,
January.
so, yeah.
More to come
Dave-
in January.
Dave is gonna talk more
Alright.
about our current status for Chromebooks and our life cycles and all that jazz. But I think with the 2-step authentication, that just needs to happen, so, okay, so we'll get that set,
Yes.
okay?
Okay,
I am done.
all right.
Just might have to have you text us, check your emails. If we have to-
Yeah, that's just the responsiveness is gonna be an issue. but-
Fair.
Yeah.
We'll work
Out
through
of
some.
town, do you have your?
Yeah, I would not bring
No.
it with me, no.
Probably not.
Seems like
In
that.
fact, I gotta find a place for it then.
Yeah, would decrease
All right,
effectiveness.
public comment, apparently none tonight. All right, personal recommendations. We have, let's see, hiring recommendation. Lindsey Johnson, high school softball coach. Kaylee Jones and Nathan Alberg, so that's replacing. Yeah, Kaylee Jones and recommended by Nathan Alberg.
I'll make the motion to accept.
I'll second.
Okay, Brad and John, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, congratulations, Lindsay, you are the new softball coach.
So I do have a question though.
Yes.
Is she gonna be the head coach? You know, I know we both schools name a head coach, but one
Right.
actually functions that way. And then
That-
the other's an assistant.
Right.
Good question for Nate.
That is a good question for Nate, because I know how the structure operated last year,
Yeah.
and we were more of that second seat. so-
Yeah, because when Rodula
Right.
was the coach, he was the head coach.
Right.
Mine now kind of had second seat, and then it switched, and so I don't know where we're at now.
Right, And I think that's gonna be something that, as they get closer to the season, they're gonna have to work out as
Yeah.
far as what that's gonna look like as a co-op, so.
Okay.
All right, that brings us on to consider acceptance of donations. We have East Central Energy, Students in Need, a container of hygiene products. We have an anonymous donor for food service past due accounts of $750. And then Elizabeth Nichols, a donation to the school of $5,000.
I'll make the motion to accept.
Second.
All right, Brad and Ben. All right. All that very useful items. All right, this brings on rookie Mertz. Oh, did I miss one?
Yeah, we need to.
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
Another quick question.
Sure.
So how does someone find out that we have deficits in the lunch program? Did they just say, well, I know you got some here, $750?
They usually ask somebody at the district. A lot of times I've been asked on that, or just people have said, if you have past due food service accounts, because they know that many schools do.
Yeah.
That they say they would like to make a donation towards the accounts.
So do we normally, as a district or a board, send a thank you note? I mean, that's a pretty nice gesture. I guess they all are, but.
Yes, I generally, the two, on the bottom there, I sent the thank you notes out to them.
Okay.
And then I also, when we, like the food service ones, when we apply amounts to people's accounts, we send them a letter saying an anonymous donation was made to your account. If you would like to send a thank you, you can send it to the school and we will forward it on to the family.
Okay.
Sadly, I have never had anyone in 20 years
Wow.
come back and issue a thank you to me.
Seems like we need a community-wide door challenge of gratitude.
Yeah.
For me, the school really appreciates it because it helps with some of the accounts that we've had out there for a long time.
And just to jump back real quick on the expense, you closed out a bunch of old accounts. I assume they had a kid graduate and had some
So,
balance
like,
left or something.
The $750 we put towards existing students.
Right, no, on the expense report, you had a bunch of entries for closing out accounts.
Yes, oh
That's
yeah,
just
so
the-
that was another thing that I went through, like, often when we have kids graduate.
Yeah,
They still
left
have money
$50
left,
on it.
and so then we'll send
Okay.
a check out to those. And then,
You should ask them if they wanna donate it first.
well, if there have been a couple that I know who they are, and I've asked them, I'm like, do you want your check, or would you like to donate that back? And I've sometimes had some that
Yeah,
say,
that's good.
just donate it.
Yeah.
All right, any other further discussion on this?
Oh, and actually, the one with the $750, she called me and she was very thankful to get a thank you at all, because they've done other, like, some of the Salvation Army and things like that.
Yeah.
And she says they have never heard anything that way, so she just appreciated getting something.
Yes.
Well, I
A
appreciate
Thank you
you
goes
doing
a
that.
long
She
way.
was, their family was very happy about that, so.
Okay.
Does that give us a better balance now, or did that about clear the decks, or?
We also, that 5,000, we also took care of some of the very old ones, that have been sitting on the books for years, and so that did, but it did
Yeah.
not take care of
I
it.
thought we had to clear them every year.
No. And this seems to be a big deal around the state, because
Yeah.
the information that I shared just about the WASB proposals for amendments this year talks about that very specific piece, where the state will provide more funding for districts that are left on the hook for outstanding food balances, so, anyway.
The finance
resolutions.
meetings I've been at.
Right.
It's, yeah, we are certainly not.
We're not alone in this.
Right.
No, I know.
And some families just sit and wait and go, somebody else is gonna take care of it.
Yes, Linda?
I just wanted to say that I sent a thank you to, for the first one, for the ECE.
Okay, oh, thank you, that's
Because we
great.
brought that in and put it in our supplies.
Appreciate
So I
it.
did send that.
All right, any other further discussions? Okay, that brings us on to the rookie merge funds requests.
All right, so I know this is out of cycle, this was one that was not solicited and it was missed in our November timeframe. Just re-emphasizing the point that we have specific times for these to be presented. And this is mainly for middle school volleyball, which just happens to occur in the winter timeframe. So that's why we have these here. Blocking hands is not the same as the fan hands that people have. There is a
Look like
purpose
those
to
things
Not
that.
the
I did
foamy
in
finger.
Kindergarten, when you do your handprint.
Check. So,
And they do not do fundraisers, correct? Middle school volleyball?
not that I'm aware of. I know volleyball does, but I don't
Middle school
believe.
has done
Have they,
fundraisers
well,
and
I
stuff.
haven't seen anything of recent.
Well, because they're supposed to bring all fundraisers through you guys.
Oh,
Right,
okay.
that's correct.
So I would think it would
I'm,
pain me to see a fundraiser and this.
the only thing I look at this stuff and it's kind of like individual user stuff. And I've never, I don't know, remember growing up, I've never seen any of this stuff as far as being used. Or a school providing something like this, but I mean, I guess I don't have a huge deal with it, but I'm just.
Yeah, I mean, the whole request is 300.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Boxes.
not much, it's just the fact that, okay, if we do this, then what, I'm just worried about what other, I don't know.
Well, and this is really just a heads up, isn't it? I mean, it's coming from.
No, this is a
I don't think
request.
they're requesting.
Yeah, it's a request.
It's a request.
It is requested.
Okay.
So, that's what I was saying, it was missed from our November, when we should have had it,
Okay.
so.
I don't know, I mean, I don't guess I have a problem with it, but it seems kind of, I was expecting that fund to be used for more permanent things, kind of, or more used permanent, like these things, when I looked them on.
Larger items.
Little bit larger items, when I looked at them online, I'm like, these will be lucky to last a year, if they don't get lost in the first few weeks. But, you know, I don't know. Blocking hands, I was like, I looked at them, they're two round pad things, and I'm like, why? Dude, why can't you use somebody's hands to block? Just,
Well, we could maybe think about tabling it and have the middle school volleyball coach come and.
Explain
Yeah.
what some of these items are exactly. I mean, some of this I
educate us on
see
what these
is
are.
to prevent injury. You know, maybe there have been repetitive injuries that we are unaware of with the blocking hands and these other items. And these might be devices that have come up over the years that they look at saying this can prevent, you know, a certain injury, you know, so.
But they're in their season right now.
They've just started, yes,
So if we wait till January,
it'd be over.
They'll be in
pretty
season.
much over it.
Like I said, I don't have a huge problem with it, it's just. To me, I thought we'd have funds, I thought they'd have like sport funds that would cover kind of some of this stuff as for equipment.
They have a small
A
amount.
small amount.
And part of the struggle with the middle school sports is because we have those in Fund 80, the items that are purchased out of Fund 80 can only be used by the middle
Community.
school, where this, it could be used for high school or the middle
Yeah,
school.
it would benefit the entire program.
But that's
so.
one of the restrictions of DPI for middle school purchases, so that's like basketballs and things like that, we don't purchase through Fund 80 because
They're used by-
it could be used by both.
Ah.
Hmm.
So this way both middle school and high school volleyball could share in this equipment.
Right.
I'm not gonna die on it, so.
No.
But I'm just like saying that, I'm like, some of this stuff looks kinda cheap, honestly.
Well, hard to say
But-
unless we actually see it ourselves.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's hard to know when we're not the ones doing it, what the true benefit is.
Yeah.
Right. I have no problem against it, maybe just a middle school coach could appear next month and just say, hey, once they have this explained a little bit more to us what it's all about.
okay.
So do I have a motion to approve this?
So move.
Ben?
I'll second.
So are we ordering it? Is that what you,
Well,
is
they'll-
that what
they'll
you're?
have to-
Yeah, they're approving the purchase.
Yes,
so-
we're approving the
Okay,
purchase.
because then I'll put the,
Alright. All right, Ben and John, any further discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Yeah,
All right. 4 yeas, 1 nay. Thank you, Brad.
yep.
All right.
and Sierra did talk about coming in to talk about it,
Yeah.
so.
I think that, well, she might have got, we don't know. All right, that brings us on next to, yes, okay, school calendar, final approval.
Was there any changes from the last one?
No, sir.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
All right, John and Brad, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. All right, send that out to your friends and family early. Okay, high school, middle school, course program additions.
Alright. So this is just getting approval for the survey?
It is approval for a survey since that was a request by the board to produce a survey to send out.
Yeah, it's pretty wide ranging, I like that. People can just-
And I think it'd give us pretty decent feedback as to
Yeah.
some of the programming that.
Make the motion to approve it?
I'll second.
Okay, Brad and John? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. All right, act testing, plan and date.
This was to move middle school, right?
The proposal was to conduct our testing on March 11th with just 11th grade out of the high school and then an alternate schedule for the middle school. So that it was primarily just juniors in that hallway during that day.
I'll make the motion to approve the ACT testing plan.
Second.
Okay. That'd be Ben or Brad and Ben. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right. Sorry about that. Jumped way back. There we go. All right. That brings us to elementary trimester proposal.
So basically, we're gonna do this for we're just approving it for 1 year to see how it works out.
Approving it for next year.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I mean.
Yeah.
2025, 2026.
You can choose to go 1 year or my recommendation was just have all.
Just from now
And,
on.
yes, unless they're significant and we'd come back.
No pushback from faculty on the legacy side.
Hmm.
Okay.
That's just
So
brings
make-
us, go ahead, Brad.
I'll make the motion to approve the proposal for elementary tri-semester system going forward. Starting year 2025, 2026.
Second?
Okay, Brad and John, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Cross-country performance factor appeal.
All right, there is a very recent movement by a couple of the district administrators of teams affected by this move to have an amendment to this performance factor process. Talking with Nate more about it, cross-country is unique compared to others simply because the field of teams that can participate in the state event for cross-country is much different than other sports where it's very limited. And so it sets them apart. I know there was an email that came today by the chair of this committee today saying that, well, I don't see the benefit of doing this, and that you would be the only, or cross-country would be only sport that would have this exception. And that would really be setting not a great precedent. Anyway, but you've got two sides of the coin here. Yes, it's gonna be different, but it already is. So
the state meet has
Yes.
roughly 20 teams per.
16.
16.
Yeah,
Where basketball has 4.
right.
So I mean, I can
What-
see the argument where they, like, because we send so many, you're getting penalized.
Right,
Because unless you narrowed it down and say, well, you're gonna show up with 4 cross-country teams, and
right.
then it wouldn't be a meet, it would be something else, but,
Mhm.
so, have you, you taken a position, or is Nate?
I haven't yet. I mean, we've talked about it, and I would see where, yeah, I was really surprised that our team was still, or our appeal was rejected in that sense. I don't know, I can see both sides of this coin, but as I look at it, if 16 teams can qualify for a state tournament, that's infinitely different than other teams.
Yeah.
You know, we just went through football. The only teams that made it to a state level were 4,
Yeah.
right? And that goes across all sports, even in such sports as wrestling, where you have individual, but your team is still the same. 4.
4.
That's it.
So are they looking at doing just a carve-out for cross-country?
Right, that is correct. So, so I
Do you know
just
what-
wanted to
what's
solicit.
the argument against amending, or changing it?
Simply because,
More work for them.
well, that's part of it, but then it like I said, it singles out cross-country and it makes it look different than everyone else.
But it's
Which
so
it
much
is.
different anyway.
But that's it.
Yeah.
Is track that way too, though? How was track
is
ran?
not.
Does track have a team state?
The way, unless things have changed, track is the way wrestling used to be, where your team points were based on the individuals participating and the points that they gained. That's the way it has been, and I don't think there have been any changes of recent with track. I don't know if you know, but that's the way it has operated. So it's not a team event specifically, right? So, anyway.
Well, it makes sense to me, because you're not penalizing, I mean, but you just have a more of a chance of getting repeat teams in a 16
Right.
team field than you do a 4.
Right. And that's
So what
it,
killed us is we placed,
in those
last
2
2
years.
years.
But not first.
but not first. But
Right.
yeah, that's what's really killing. We didn't take state either year, and we went from 2nd to 3rd. So we actually declined in our thing, you know.
But you're still
But you still
earning
got
points. and-
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the chair did acknowledge that this is a work in progress. And,
Yeah.
you know, they're trying to figure this out,
Yeah.
but still.
Wait and see, I guess.
That's all we can really do. So, all right, any other further discussion on this? Okay, brings us state report cards.
Did any of these things change since?
No, the report cards are as such. What it is just that acceptance of these reports and posting on the district website.
Make the motion.
Second.
All.
All right, it'd be Brad and Ben, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, motion approved. Okay, outdoor hockey rink donations and installation.
All So, this was on the committee of the whole, it's just providing updates. Right now, it's unsure of the cost of the boards. They have not been advertised as of yet, but trying to, the company that was willing to donate the installation, the labor and the cost for installation, was checking into it. Need for security monitoring, if we have it down there, Dave and I are working on security monitoring system for that location. That ties into one of the grants we have. So we're working that piece out. But we would still have to look at the one light pole with a light fixture that is not wired. So trying to regain that lighting for the area and that security piece. And then
Maybe
talk-
Delbert will donate.
and
Sorry.
then talking to the fire department, there is some hesitancy with previous rinks that were in the community. They would do that, but then it became kind of a hassle as far as timing, getting it out there, and then if we have a year like last year, how many times are they filling it?
Or this year.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, or this
so
year.
far, yeah. So, but I think there is still some support for doing that to a limited capacity, so.
Who would shovel the snow off this rink?
That's some of the stuff that we would have to kind of work through, so.
Solon version.
Yeah.
So,
The who?
where,
Solon forward.
where I would anticipate this versus other rinks that have been in the community, this would be on school grounds and it would be utilized during the day by classes, PE, even more than what other rinks would be.
Would they have to wear
And then
helmets?
That would have to be something that we would take a look at.
I'm not a
So-
hockey player, so this just seems like a.
No, I was thinking about the costume, if you're talking PE at the costume states and
Mhm.
other things as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
because
Right.
it's-
And once again, storage.
Yeah.
Storage.
Yeah.
Insurance.
There's,
Well,
there's
that's,
a
that
few
was my
things.
big thing. What do we have to insure it for?
Yeah.
It's on our property, it's ice.
Yeah, and I
People come
forgot to
after.
listen, did you say that the insurance company is they're following up?
I did not, because that was gonna be yours.
So they had responded to me today that they have had other community organizations that have had skating rinks that they didn't think it should be a problem, but they were going to, go more in depth into our provider. Because there's a few of us that feel like we recall that when we had the old one down there, that when we had to take that one down, I can't remember if it was a combination of nobody taking care of it and it being a liability issue, so they had to take that down.
I'm
So-
assuming we'd have to have some kind of a sign saying use at your own risk type thing.
And that's what they did say, that we would need to put something like that.
Some disclosure sign
Yeah.
or something.
Upkeep is a big one. And
Yes.
in
Well,
my
because
head,
it
it's
knows
like,
costs.
who's,
Filling
Right.
and upkeeping it, yeah. You're
yeah,
right.
who is responsible for,
Mhm.
Mhm.
Number of different questions that have to be worked out, but this is an
Just an
update just
update.
on the big picture first.
Yeah, this is just an update detailing. We're
You
not-
know, and if you so choose to make a decision on something tonight, great. If not, I guess what I would ask is what are some of the next steps you're requesting of us?
I wanna know if it's gonna cost us money to buy them,
Okay.
or what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cause if it, honestly, we're not hurting for it,
No.
that I know of. So unless unless it's free, I don't really care, in my opinion.
Well, do we wanna just sort of do an informal poll amongst ourselves to see if there's any support for it at all, or? I mean, if we all kinda think this is dead in the water, there's no sense following up on anything. I mean,
I think it
I
get
mean,
used,
we
if
do a
it was taken
non-binding-
care of, that's the
Yes.
problem.
kind of a non-binding vote at this point.
Yeah.
And I could see them using it for certain things, for like fundraisers or something, having like a skate night or something. I don't know if there's liability there too, but, it might be something to get other community involved, like Lions Club or somebody like that.
Lions Club does not have enough people that.
Yeah, everybody's stretched pretty.
They're not.
Well, I did just name them.
Are you
It
for
could
this?
be,
No.
I don't know what other.
Are you?
Stretched, I know.
Are you for this hockey?
I have mixed feelings about it. I just think the cost to use is gonna be an issue here.
Yeah.
Um, I don't foresee many parents being able to have the time.
Hey,
or
can we
effort
add
or
that to the
anything to
survey we
running their
sent you
children
guys?
down there.
No?
No.
I'm not particularly excited about this,
It's
but
already
it could
made
be
it.
because I'm just not a hockey guy.
Mhm.
I don't want my kid, unless they're putting a helmet on my second grader, I don't want him on the ice for school activities.
Well, I think we're getting hung up on the term hockey also in
Just
my
a
head. I
skating.
think
To
it
me,
would
this
be-
is
it
an
should be
ice
termed as a
skating rink.
skating rink.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's
I'm
not a
watching
hockey
skating
rink, it's just a
and
public-
the danger
it's a-
and the head injury
Right.
risk. So I have an inherent bias against this, of which you can say, Ben, you just grew up in a cave. Normal people love this stuff, and I would receive that.
Mhm.
I mean, I see positives of, we can get the boards donated, cause that is an expense. Okay, and they have to be put up every year, taken down every year,
Mhm.
that they have to be. I can see the positives of, like you say, it's another activity for kids to go do, out skating, it's, promotes exercise, I can see PE. But like you say, we have to think of protection and safety first, involved, and then we got the security issue, making sure nobody's down there tampering with it, messing with it, pros and cons to that. And then just the upkeep, making sure the rink stays flooded, cause I grew up with a public rink not far from my house, and all of us kids, man, we couldn't wait, get after school, go home, eat, go down the public rink, skate, go around, shoot our pucks, have a good time, and it was just plowed ice to the side, or plowed snow to the side, they just flooded.
Do we have a water source down there, or we depend on the fire
We're
department? to
gonna
show
be
up with a
dependent on the
truck?
fire department for that.
We
location.
would depend on the fire department to have that initial.
And that would have to be.
And they're iffy on it to this point.
There is some support to it. It's
I
just
would think we would,
limited.
I think this would be a good thing to get further information on, what is boards? Can we get the commitment from the fire department? Is the safety issue gonna cost us a lot of money to get things down there,
Right.
getting this light pole put up, what kind of, I know they make wireless security cameras nowadays that work very well. I think it's just something we should table, and let's get some further information before we just make a hard judgment.
The
on it.
big thing is the
Okay.
cost, I think.
Yeah,
I mean,
and that's just it.
If it's gonna
We need some
cost us
kind of
like
estimated cost.
$5 to $6 grand to do this, I'm not for it
Yeah,
at all.
yeah,
And
And
just
it-
for-
Yeah.
yeah, and the keeping clean,
So what,
put another thing on there.
I guess
Yeah.
that's where I was asking is if we're gonna continue this conversation, it's just
I think it's
getting
more
a recommendation
information
on what is it that you want me to pursue? And if we do this, or if I'm pursuing something or we're pursuing something, what I would say is I wanna skip January, because that's gonna come up very quickly and give us a February timeframe to come back.
We wouldn't really be installing
And we'll
it
just
this
plan
year.
it
would
until,
be a
next year. be
next
installed,
Yeah,
not this year.
the soonest that we would be looking at anything would be next year, simply because they're being used right now, so.
Yeah. So we've got time frame to gather the
Alright, well,
information.
I'll follow your lead on this if we want more information.
Yeah, I would love to have more
Yeah,
information,
I would
because
too.
I do see benefits. I grew up with one, we were just kids screwing around with our hockey rinks. My sisters went down there, they figure skated, they had fun with their friends. The city provided wood for a bonfire, a little tiny warming shack. So we had bonfires outside, go inside to the warming shack. City came and flooded the rink once every so often. It was a great community thing for parents to bring their kids to. We had outdoor hockey games there, when I got into playing hockey. Yeah, it
You're
was
talking
pretty-
about like the city of
City
Superior.
of Superior, yeah, I grew up like 3 blocks away from this, and it was a great activity to keep kids busy, something to do for you to do at night.
Does
You
the
can-
location make a difference too, like when we have the skating rink on the pond and people are driving past and they're saying, we wanna go ice skating, is having it down there where,
Yeah.
and plus that, if I recall right, I didn't think that we kept that plowed.
Well, that would be part of our additional expense, Mark would have to zip through there.
That's-
Well,
that's
the market would be, do we have,
Yeah.
do we plow it?
Or
That's a
whoever we
great
have.
question.
Yeah.
But we do also have some classes that some of the kids do have excursions where they go to where a family, somebody in the class will have, that live on the lake, where kids will go down and ice skate. So there are some ice skating opportunities for our students that way too.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be ice skating, I mean, you could have just boot hockey, I mean,
Or
just.
broom ball.
Or broom ball. I mean, we did that when I was back in vocational, we had, machinists against the welders, broom ball tournaments, stuff like that, so they were fun times. So there's,
Alright, well, we'll
All
look
right.
for more information.
yes,
Would it be appropriate to send out a second poll along with the one that we have asking the community about the classes that they want to see? Could we send out like a poll asking them what kind of involvement or what kind of interest is there, and have, before we like ask any more questions or
We-
move forward?
We can do whatever we want on that sense. My word of caution is too many surveys as we
Don't get
look to
answered.
bigger things.
don't get answered.
You know, I think we just.
But this is
we
something you
have
can
to
put
be
out
thoughtful in this.
in your, like, monthly address, or we could put it into our newsletter, where the school is looking at. What's your thoughts? Just write us.
Do we know if it's even still available?
As far as I know, I've not heard back contrary to that, so. Cause it, like I said, it.
That could cause some trouble, we get people fired up for one and just.
Right. Yeah, but, like I said, it wasn't advertised as of yet, and
All right.
Tony hasn't responded with anything otherwise, so.
Okay. All right, any other further conversation? All right, that brings us into closed section.
I'll make the motion to go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Stats 19.851C to consider the employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility.
But you've read that a million times, Brad. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, a second, sorry, I need a
I'll
second.
second.
All right, Brad and John going into closed session. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? All right, 5-minute break?
I'm okay.
Oh, I'm okay.
I'm not.
Fair enough. We do need to-